But the NBA did something last night, and they keep
did.
doing things. The NBA, I believe it's a fun sport, both on the court and off the court. When these trades get going, there's a lot of things, whether you like them or not, everybody's talking about them, and this is one that I saw some of the happenings of last night, and like you kind of woke up to being able to more fully digest this thing, and I feel like somebody got fleeced. Do you want to tee up the trade?
I do want to tee up the trade. Let me just pull it up really quick. If you
Big
have
Con
that
51, your wish is our command. He said, "Can we talk NBA?"
Yeah.
The Boston Celtics. You want me to read it off here?
Go ahead.
The Boston Celtics, they trade Jrue Holiday to the Portland Trail Blazers for Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks.
Yes, and that was per Shams, and that's obviously well known throughout NBA and sports media circles right now. Do you have any initial thoughts on that one?
Yes, that was it. We couldn't have gotten Anthony Simons. And yes, you look at what the Celtics are going to need next year. You think about the scoring, because you're never going to be able to replace a Jason Tatum 1-for-1. But you look at already the first steps, in my opinion, to go get a guy that you know can carry a scoring load from all 3 levels of the court. Young player too. Yes, man, this is a player that over the last couple of years, there's been even some flirtations and rumors when Weaver was here. Is this going to be a guy that he potentially pulls a deal on? You know, so to be able to see the Celtics pull this one off, it feels like championship level organizations make these types of moves. I actually think this is a great one for the Celtics.
It's a great one for the Celtics. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the Celtics
so cheap,
basically saying, we're not going to punt the season with Jason Tatum being out. We can still win the NBA Finals. And no, Anthony Simons is not as good as Jason Tatum, but he does replace some of what Jason Tatum gave them, which is he would probably come in and be their best facilitator, which the Celtics don't really have any great ones, but that didn't matter when they were winning a championship with kind of facilitation by committee.
But without Jason Tatum, bringing in a facilitator might make those guys go just a little bit more. Can he play the Halliburton role?
But, I mean, he's not as good of a facilitator as Halliburton, but he can. He can get buckets, as we all know, at a semi-efficient clip, although not as efficient as some. But still, his three-point shot has been good throughout his career. He's going to give you about 20 points per game. He's better than Jrue Holiday right now. Jrue Holiday, with all due respect, because he's been one of the best role players in the NBA for a long time, was a big part of 2 championships, 2021 with Milwaukee and 2024 with Boston. Right now, he does not serve the purpose on the Celtics that Anthony Simons would. And Anthony Simons, quiet as kept, is an expiring contract. So if you're the Boston Celtics, and if you want to just use Simons as a rental to help them better their chances of winning a title next year and then let him go to free agency when Tatum gets back, I love that move for them. And for the Portland Trail Blazers, I don't know what the F they're doing. They're not doing anything by adding Jrue Holiday and subtracting Anthony Simons in the West.
Bro, like, I'm not understanding that one. And as much as I love Jeremy Grant, Jrue Holiday and Jeremy Grant, that's what we running back?
Jrue Holiday's old and he's overpaid. Both things can be true. He was not overpaid for the Celtics
Grant
because
he's technically approaching that status too.
and that's the thing. Jrue Holiday was not overpaid for the Celtics for what he helped them do, but as an overall player, when we're talking about what he can do, I don't see how he helps the Trailblazers. I wonder if they have another move in mind.
It feels like it has to be that.
Yeah.
I know that there's been rumors that they were going to make some moves. Anthony Simons has been a guy that has been rumored to be on a trading block for a few years. I just didn't think it would be that.
Yeah, and to me, the Trailblazers, they're effing their chances of being good next year partially by getting rid of Anthony Simons. Because I'll be honest, they got some nice players. Obviously, they've got Jeremy Grant still. They've got Denny Avdia. But to me, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm not as high on Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe as some. I don't know if Scoot Henderson is actually good, and Shaedon Sharpe, he's got to get that efficiency up. Is he damn athletic? Absolutely.
Our guy, Jeff Iafrate.
Jeff Iafrate is part of the Sharpe family. He loves Shaedon Sharpe probably more than his own family. But that's neither here nor there. Shout out my good friend Jeff. But to me,
I love you, bro.
I'm not saying Shaedon Sharpe's not a good player, but him playing this much of a role, kind of going into next season being your potential leading scorer, I don't like it. I think the Trailblazers are going to be just in that maybe 37 win range. And what is that? What good is that for you?
And for obviously for a Pistons perspective, I see brother there. I would love Jrue Holiday on the Pistons. Yeah, Jrue Holiday on this iteration of the Pistons.
Because the Pistons are close. The Blazers are not close. They're I thought they were building it the right way, and they've got talented players, but they are not
give
close.
Give me a Jrue Holiday in that backcourt, bro.
Oh, yeah. I would love
gracious.
Jrue Holiday on the Pistons because that's what Jrue Holiday does. He goes to teams, he plays roles on teams that have superstars that are championship caliber and puts them over the top. As I said before, with the Bucks in 2021 and the Celtics in 2024. He wasn't the biggest reason why they won. Obviously, the Bucks with Giannis and Middleton and the Celtics with Tatum and Brown, Derek White, et cetera, but he plays a role, and he plays good defense. He shoots the ball well from three. He does exactly every single championship caliber team wants a Jrue Holiday, but the Portland Trail Blazers are not championship caliber.
No, not at all. And so between what you've seen already go down with the star deals, and now you see I would say a mid-level deal here with Anthony Simons for Jrue Holiday, we're starting to get a picture here. It's either one of two things. Either the Pistons have something big that they're hiding underneath their sleeve, or they really value this roster and these young players, and they're about to just run this thing back. You know, you couple this thing with Keith Langlois' article yesterday that he released where he put out there, and, you know, this Pistons.com writer, great guy, great writer, great at his job, but he did put out there that the Pistons should prioritize Malik Beasley, which is something I want to get more into tomorrow, obviously, because Malik Beasley is one of your more intriguing players out there. And as I'm looking at some of the pieces and some of the dominoes that are moving around the board, I'm starting to believe that Trajan Langdon is feeling like he's better suited to just kind of run this thing back. But they've hinted at that too, just to be fair. They've consistently hinted at that, and now we're seeing it from Pistons.com editor Keith Langlois.
I just think that I understand that approach, and I understand with the idea of, I know there's a lot of people in Pistons sphere and in media and who watch this show and even at this network that think Jaden Ivey coming back will make a wild difference, will make a world of difference. And I'm not saying that he won't help. I think you can look at it in both ways. I would probably prefer them to be more aggressive, but there are a lot of Ivy bros out there who point to the improvements that he did make, which were fair improvements, by the way. So there's many, many ways that the Pistons can go about this. However, the Celtics are not ready to just punt this next season. They want to win a championship. And I know, and like I said before, Anthony Simons is not Jason Tatum, but they're just a really, really good and well-constructed basketball team. A great team, quite frankly. I mean, they won the championship a couple years ago.
Very well-run organization overall.
Very well-run organization.
We continue to see here, and we look at the all-dysfunction teams, and we see already that some of these teams are making moves. So now that's what? You got Orlando already making a move to kind of shore things up when they bring in a Desmond Bane. What you see here with the Boston Celtics is them saying, we're not done. We're not through. We're not throwing in the towel. And you know what? I don't believe that they're finished yet. I believe the Celtics, they have the opportunity if they want to still make some other minor tweaks based on how they want to flip this roster. So the Celtics clearly are still trying to go out there and put forth a championship caliber team. It's going to be intriguing to see what the Knicks do because obviously there's rumblings that they're not looking to just lay down no matter who the coach is next year. So the Pistons, I think that there's a lot on the table right now for them. This isn't something in which just yesterday there was a perspective from the legend T. Falls that, hey, you know what, the rest of the league is kind of East has kind of taken this dysfunctional fall. The Pistons are going to take a rise just based off of that. But now you're looking at these teams saying, you know what, we don't want to play ball that way. We actually want to be able to show up to the table next year, and we're not just handing anything to Detroit or any other upstart or any other team like an Indiana again. So it's interesting and intriguing to see how these squads operate and still have the opportunity to go out and get a player to the caliber of freaking Anthony Simons, bro. That to me is the wild part. I saw somewhere earlier in the chat, and I forget who put it, but they're like, man, I loved Anthony Simons. I would have loved him on Detroit, and that's a player I absolutely would have. I remember early on the hypothetical aspects of, would you trade Jaden Ivey for Anthony Simons? At the time, I remember I said yes one time, and the people they absolutely got on me, man.
They probably
I
basically
like the
said
shooting ability of Anthony Simons. I do think that he plays really tough defense.
Well, and also Jrue Holiday moving forward was not a great contract, even for a team like the Celtics, who he helped them win a title. I understand that, but they're not necessarily in a great cap position. So getting out of that and bringing in a rental and Anthony Simons, who's cheaper, I think they fleeced him. Obviously, time will tell. But Justin, I know you came in just ready to talk about this trade. That's the first thing you mentioned when you came in. Obviously, like, we missed you while you were gone. What are your thoughts on this Jrue Holiday, Anthony Simons, Trailblazers, Celtics trade?
I mean, I think that it was a fleece by Boston. I really think that adding Anthony Simons, only having to deal an aging veteran who doesn't have the offensive presence that Anthony Simons has, is just a legitimate upgrade for a team that is trying to stay relevant in the East. So I really think that, and Jrue Holiday's contract is awful. It is as he's aging, it's becoming one of the worst contracts in the NBA. So I think it was a great move by the Celtics, and it kind of sucks for the Pistons because it would have been nice to have a down year from the Celtics, but it may not happen.